didn't get the basic tux. I rented a Ralph Lauren. And no, the family minivan was not going to do. I checked out a brand new black T-top Firebird Trans Am from the dealership. Both our engines revved as I plugged Journey's greatest hits into the CD player. I was all set to air. Purloined bottle of wine from the parents, some other necessary supplies. Tonight, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, I'm going to talk about some difficult subject matter. I'm going to use some coarse language. The subject matter you might find a little bit offensive, and if so, I'm okay with that. I want to give you this opportunity to get up and leave. Seeing no takers. My love of women started early. If we ignore the whole Oedipal thing, probably around 3rd grade, my grandmother's next door neighbor had this niece. Her name was Amy Sandifer. Cute little blonde girl. I guess my mom noticed that I had taken a fancy to her. She had also noticed that I was having to start wearing a little bit of deodorant. And she set me down to teach me a thing or two. That's right, I saw my first naked woman with my mom. She peeled back the skin and revealed some muscles. And peeled back the muscles to reveal some bones, and removed those to reveal some internal organs, where she pointed out the vagina, the uterus, and the ovaries. That's right, I saw my first naked woman in an anatomy book. She wanted to teach me about women's anatomy the proper way, before I could be contaminated by some of the more coarse terms that we have to describe women. My God, if only I had known what to do with myself, I could have been a 3rd grade Mac. Learning to do what with myself came later. Eventually, I discovered VH1. Helena Christensen running around topless on a beach wearing what could have been my tighty-whities in Chris Isaac's Wicked Game. There were the supermodels wearing some funky, small clothing and doing suggestive things in Too Funky by George Michael, which is a great music video. I recommend you all check it out. And of course, there was Madonna with the pointy black bra. What I wouldn't have given to have been that little blonde-haired boy and open your heart to me. Soon after this, I was living with my grandparents. They had Showtime. That's right, folks. I learned about sex sneaking out of my bedroom to the living room after my grandparents had gone to bed to watch Zalman King's Red Shoe Diaries. I see a few nods. Parents, if you're not going to talk to your kids about sex, okay, maybe, but at least give them better source material than Zalman King. Seriously, it's bad. Speaking of talking about sex, my dad and I, we never really talked much about girls. He probably should have forced the issue, but he didn't. That being said, it might have been a little bit awkward to take him seriously since he seemed to be lusting after my classmates as well, and that just was wrong. The extent of our sex talk involved a banana and some latex. This was in 10th grade, right after a presentation where we were shown 20-foot wide pictures of STD-deformed genitalia in an attempt to prevent all the students in the high school from going to spring break in Panama City and having sex. I can honestly say that the idea of putting a balloon, which is what my dad demonstrated with, on my penis was a about as appealing as suffering from crotch rot. The other time we ever talked about sex was after I got my first serious girlfriend, when my dad said, "Son, if you get her pregnant, I'll help her daddy shoot you." I believed him. Now in high school, I discovered the joys of dancing farther than the middle school close slow dance. I was in ninth grade at the first dance of the year. It was for an extra credit opportunity. I remember seeing Mary Margaret McRae out there on the floor in this little mini fuchsia dress, bumping and grinding all over the place. And I was like, wow, I need some of that. But of course, Mary Margaret was a senior. That wasn't going to happen. But I worked up the nerve to walk over and talk to Angie, who I'd always had a little thing for. She's kind of short, cute as a bug, junk in the trunk, nice windshield wipers, at least for a ninth grader. My brashness was rewarded with a dance that soon left me in an awkward situation. It didn't work out between Angie and myself. That's probably a good thing. She was out looking for a boyfriend. I think she found one. She got pregnant in her sophomore year. The next years during high school, I spent studying the art of love. Now, it was hard back then because Al Gore hadn't invented the internet. All you could get was an occasional Playboy and maybe a penthouse from someone who was significantly older, and the latter gives you some strange ideas about what women want. One word, parrots. Also, left me feeling a little self-conscious. Eventually, though, I decided that I was ready. And what better place to enjoy a little nighttime prime than after prom? But bear in mind, this was a couple of years prior to the Virginity Pact in American Pie. I picked up Amanda in that gleaming Firebird. She came out in a black tulle skirt, black bodice, silver trimming, gorgeous. Her heels made her taller than me. That was okay, just put my head a little closer. It was wonderful. After visiting my grandmother, pulling out of the driveway, I took off the driver's side mirror with a tree. I'm a Bitch came on the radio, and my night was a wreck. Sometimes I wish it had worked out for me then, but who knows? A sin that night might have prevented my getting involved in youth group. And we all know what goes down in youth group. Madam Toastmaster.